Welcome back guys. In the last video we talked about the average product of labor and how it diminishes, but now I'm also going to talk about something that will even clear this concept. So that is the production function, and this is an economics term. The economics is something so production function. So what is a production function? Production function is only something actually in which inputs are used such that outputs or output is produced. So basically production function is a function of inputs which are, and what are the inputs? Inputs are land, labor and capital. In economics we use these three, and there's another one but it's not important right now, but land, labor and capital, these three are the inputs and they together make outputs such as rice, wheat, etc., everything that is formed. So this is a production function, and in a production function there is also a use of a graph, which I'm going to talk about in a bit of time. There's also a use of graph, and it will tell you guys about average product of labor, how we find it out and how it diminishes. The concept will be clear in that. So on your right there is a graph, and that is a production function graph. So it's production function. If in your quiz you are asked to make a graph using the production function, you guys have to make this graph. Remember this, very important, that this graph has to be made when there is some talk of production function. And on the y-axis there is always the output, that is kilograms of grain produced in thousands in this example, and on your x-axis there is always an input, and in this there are number of farmers. So on your left there is a table that actually tells you how inputs are used to produce the output. So labor is your input and their number of workers such as 200, and the output is grain and it is 200,000 kgs. And average productivity of labor, as we talked, is just the average of the output divided by input, and that is 1000 in this. However, as you see, as input increases by 200 in all of this example, the grain output is not the same as it was before. In first 200 labor, 200,000 kg increased. However, next 200 produced only 130,000 kgs, and and further if you go 200 labor, then it only increases by 90,000. So you can see there has been a constant decrease, and this decrease actually is the marginal productivity of labor, which is such as 200 to 330,000. We say there is a 130,000 marginal product of labor, and MPL, or we say marginal productivity of labor, is just the output produced from additional labor, output produced from additional, or we say one unit of labor. So it is additional unit of labor that actually decreases. Now we can see it's easily known because there is an increase in 200 units of workers, but the grain output is not the same. So what actually this decrease, actually what it affects, it actually affects the average, and average productive labor falls further and further as the labor increases. So you can see in the table, it means that there is a diminishing average product of labor. So there is a diminishing average product of labor, which we can see. And the graph, if you look, the graph has only plotted these points, and we have to get the MPL, which is the marginal productive labor, and the average productivity of labor. What we need to know is that MPL can only be found for a certain position, such as there is A point, there is a B point. If we want to find marginal productivity, we have to find, for example, for A, we just need to make a line which is gradient. We just have to make which is a tangent to this A, so we will find the marginal product of labor. We just need to make a tangent that just touches this A point and does not touch the whole line. It is not easy for me to make it possible for you, but you guys all know that how it we make tangents. I hope so. And we'll make tangents in some practice question. But the more important thing is that how we need to find the average productive labor, and we just may have to make a line from the origin to the point. We have to find the average productive labor. For example, if we want to find the average productive labor at A, we need to draw a line from the origin, that is from here to this A point, and that is actually this blue dotted line which you can see. And at point B, if you want to find, we just have to make a straight line from the origin to this point B. As you can see, the slope of point A is much more than B, because you can see it's more steeper, and it is easily known that it's more steeper, and this is less steeper. So, and our table also tells this, explain this. So you can see there is a diminishing average product of labor. So I'm ending my video here. I hope you guys understand how the diminishing average product of labor comes in the economy, and how, and this was the concept Malthus brought, that this will actually not help the economy, because if there is an increase in population, the average productive labor falls and it diminishes, and basically your living standards actually fall, and you are you're going through a cycle, and because your living standards fall, your population will fall again, and this will happen again and again. So I'm going to talk about it more further in my next videos, and I'm going to finish my video here. I hope you guys understand this concept, and which I'm finishing it here. Thank you.